Next up, Skye Swoboda-Colberg. Go when it hits three.
Great. Hello, everybody. My name is Skye. I'm a graduate student in the Department of Geography. And to start off, I'd like you to remember a time when you either experienced or saw a car crash. Last year in Idaho, car crashes occurred every 20 minutes. Every 40 minutes, somebody was injured, and every 39 hours, someone died. The most important factor for separating whether a crash results in an injury or a death is response time. So for my research, I look at the amount of time it takes for EMS, or emergency medical services, to respond to car crashes. I also look at where in Idaho it takes the longest for EMS to respond to car crashes. And I do this through a set of statistical methods and spatial statistics. I identified two different thresholds for EMS response time. So the time it takes to notify EMS of a crash and to get to the scene of an accident should be under 8 minutes. And the total amount of time between when a crash occurs and getting those patients to the hospital should be under 1 hour. And so what I found is for that initial response time, most crashes in urban areas meet this 8-minute threshold, but the amount of time it takes to respond to a crash doubles when you go into urban areas. When you look at the total amount of time to respond to a crash, although about 65% of crashes in urban areas get a full response and is resolved within 30 minutes, only 6% of crashes in rural areas meet the same standard. 98% of crashes in urban areas are resolved within an hour, but only 79% of crashes in rural areas meet this same threshold. So now that I've talked about how long it takes to respond, I also want to focus on one area that takes a very long amount of time. So in the second map I'm showing, you can see some of the areas that have either longer response times or shorter response times. And I found that the Highway 12 out to Lolo Pass with Montana has a very, very long response interval. This section gets about 5 fatal and severe crashes every year. It takes about an hour to just get a phone call out and get an ambulance on the scene of the crash. And on average, it takes about 3 hours to get a full response and resolve that incident. So my research is relevant because it informs policymakers of what these response times are and also identifies areas where they could benefit from improvements. My hope is to raise public awareness about the danger of crashes and promote safe driving and emergency planning. So thank you for your time, and please drive safely.
Thank you, Skye. Very interesting. Idaho is a very rural area, so I imagine your research is going to have quite an impact on this. Did your crash data include, this might be kind of grim, crashes with animals?
So I don't think my data has a particular attribute of whether it involves a crash with animals. It has more common causes such as run off the road or intoxicated driving. But the main thing I'm looking at is just that response time for fatal and severe crashes where the victims can't walk out on their own. They need some kind of a response.
So what would be one recommendation you would have for, say, the Idaho Department of Transportation from your research?
I think there are very remote areas in Idaho, and maybe making people more aware that if they get into an accident or if they need medical care, it might take upwards of an hour to even get a response. So I think just promoting emergency planning and just helping people be more aware of just how remote some of the wonderful areas in Idaho are that we explored.
Okay, I agree with you. Thank you.
Thank you.